Welcome to Salt of the Earth Farm Stories.
So I went into the army and they said, what do you do? I told them I was a farmer. They said, right, get home. We've taken too many farm boys. We want you to go home and grow food for the troops.
Well, it's a real privilege to share this story. The story of a true gentleman. He's 99 years old, and I can proudly say he's my great uncle. Uncle David was born in 1926. Just imagine that for a moment. Australia was still recovering from the depression that followed World War I. The country was young, still building itself, and before long it would be drawn into World War II. Life back then was simple, but it was tough. No electricity, one bath a week, with the whole family having to share the same water. A team of 5 Clydesdales working the ground. Cows milked by hand. A season or two of spuds lost. Rabbits destroying crops. And a love of hunting, rabbits and foxes. He walked to school every day, rain, hail or shine. And at just 14 years old, he came home to work on the farm, earning £1 a week. Until he hit him up for a pay rise. He wanted to join the Air Force, but instead he was sent home with a message that mattered: produce food for this country. Once again, we're reminded of the vital role Australian farmers play in feeding our nation. He found the love of his life at just 16 years old, and together they shared a marriage that lasted 72 years. Yet, even after all that time, they were separated for 3.5 months during COVID, unable to see each other, and that hurt. This is a story of resilience, and I'm honoured to share it with you. Good morning, Uncle David.
Good morning, Darren.
Thanks for having me here this morning, mate. I've been looking forward to catching up with you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Uncle David, can you tell me where were you born and what year was that?
1926. I'm not sure I was born in Bungaroo in hospital, but
Yeah.
anyway, Bungaroo was there,
Yeah.
I'd say.
And which house was that exactly?
Dad and Mum's old house, which is still out there,
Next door to my dad?
Yep. That's where it was, yep.
And that's still there today?
Yeah.
And you were the younger brother to my pop, Bill.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about your relationship with Pop?
Oh, good. Yeah. Your brothers, there's times you can disagree, but look, no, we were the best of mates. Good. Yeah, no worries.
And you had another brother too, but you lost him?
Yes, Herbie died before I was born. Yeah, he was only about 10.
Right.
I think it was pneumonia or something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, those days, there wasn't much you could do once you got pneumonia. That was it.
Sad. In 1926, Australia was still young and it was finding its way. Living was probably simple. Did you have electricity in your house then?
Oh, no.
No?
Oh, no. No, we didn't get electricity for, oh, gee, I can't remember what year, but yeah, I would have been probably 12-year-old or so, I suppose, before we got electricity power on.
Right.
Mm.
And how many were in the house? You and Pop and
Yeah, Mum and Dad and Pop and I, yeah.
You learned a lot from Pop growing up, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
You were good mates?
Because he was 7 years older than I was, yeah.
2 gentlemen, I reckon. What's your earliest memory of farm life?
It was pretty hard in those days. They were still sort of trying to get over the big depression from the First World War. And then the Second World War come on us, and it was, had a second dose of hard going. And it was pretty tough. Mum and Dad used to go to Ballarat every Friday to do their main shopping, and that's where they'd meet on Crocker's Corner. That's where all the locals meet each other on Crocker's Corner. That was their meeting place. Anyway, I'd be lucky in those days to get a penny ice cream once a year.
Really?
Yeah, that's how things were tough,
So for our listeners who don't know, Bungaroo is about 15 kilometres Melbourne side of Ballarat.
Yeah, about 10 mile, yeah, as I call it then anyway.
Yeah. And how did your mum and dad get into town?
Oh, had the car. They drove the car.
What sort was that? Do you remember?
Yes. First he had a Citroen Tourer. And of course, that was pretty cold with the curtains on, So he traded that and got a Citroen sedan. and that was a lovely car, and that was what we used all the time to go to Ballarat. Yeah,
Right.
and he had that all the time then till he bought the Chev, 38 Chev.
So an ice cream once a year, and those depression years, what did you eat at mealtime?
Everything you grew at home, really. You know, you grew all your own stuff. You had your potatoes, we had a veggie garden. You were self-sufficient there.
Maybe the odd rabbit?
Yeah, yes, we'd have an odd bunny now and again, yeah.
So most of it was from the farm. Did you trap rabbits or go fox shooting?
Oh, yes, I used to love both trapping rabbits and fox hunting, yeah.
What age were you when you were out hunting rabbits and foxes?
Oh, well, Bill and I used to get down the creek with the ferrets and the nets and used to net the burrows, you know. But then I started to use the shotgun when I was 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And from there on, I used to love it.
Yeah. What, did you put the net over the burrow, or did you just let them run out and shoot?
Yeah. When I start to shoot, I wouldn't put the net on the burrow. I put the ferret in, and you'd hear them rumbling under the ground, and they'd fly out the hole, and bang, bang. and by golly, that's how I learned to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed a few.
You've got to be quick, don't you?
Yeah, you have. But no, I got real good at that then.
And did you have a den dog for foxes?
Later on, yeah, wasn't it Jack Russell? He was a foxy, one of those thick-set foxies, and he was too big to go down the holes. But in the rubbish he was fantastic. Oh, he'd follow a fox, and you knew when he had one, he'd start barking if he found one, and you were ready. You know, he was terrific.
So what were some of the other pest animals on the farm back then?
Rabbits and hares and the foxes. Yeah. The rabbits used to do more damage because they used to eat the crop right to the ground, and it took a long time to recover. But the hares didn't nibble it down as far, and they weren't as bad. Look, when you had a paddock of crop in down near the creek, the rabbits would be out every night, and you'd go down, there'd be perhaps 2 or 3 chain up the paddock. It was just bare.
Oh,
They've eaten all the crop off.
devastating.
And it took a long time to recover.
This is way before Mixo came in, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was, yeah. Yes, it was a big help when that started.
So tell me about getting to school in those early days, to primary school. How did you get there?
Walk.
Walk? Yeah.
Didn't matter what the weather was like, Darren. That was it. You walked. Hail, rain or shine.
So would you walk to Wallace or Bungaree?
Bungaree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many kids were in the school?
If I remember rightly, there was between 50 and 60.
Oh, it was big back then.
Yeah. Now, I used to walk down, and Triggs Road going down, Murphy's Road it was called.
Mm.
Well, Jack and Lorna and Len, Ellie Trigg, had all come up there, and I'd meet them as I'm coming down, and we'd all walk down to school together. Same at night coming back. We'd walk up, and then they'd go down home, and I'd continue on up home.
And of course, it's never cold at Bungaree, is it?
Oh no, my golly, some of those days, you had to go on foot, whether it was, doesn't matter what the weather was like. There was no driving you those days.
So tell me about sport in Bungaree, Uncle David. Were you into cricket or footy?
At school level, I played both. After school, I continued on with cricket with the Bungaree Club. The only footy I played was with the school footy, and we used to play St Michael's Catholic School further up to the west of us. Yeah.
What was the grounds like back then compared to today?
No, it was just your schoolyard. There was no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never used any football ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the farm, so let's say you were about 12. What were you growing on the farm back then?
Usually about 20 acres of spuds, perhaps about 20 acres of wheat, and then the rest would be oat.
Right.
And the wheat was mainly, we used to cut that to keep, when it was thrashed, we'd keep that straw for thatching the stacks. Yeah, that was good hard straw.
And thatching the stacks, that would mean that would be its roof.
Yeah.
Over the other half.
Yeah, that's right. And also, one year we had a big crop of spuds, and you couldn't sell them. Nobody wanted to buy spuds. We had to finish up, playing them out actually, just bring them up and so to let the frost try and catch him, and because once the frost burnt a spud, he'd rot straight away.
No.
So that's what we had to do. And then other times we'd always pit some up in the stackyard, and we had 2 pits about nearly a chain long each, 6 foot high, and we used to thatch them, because if you don't thatch spuds, they'll go green. So you've got to thatch them.
To keep them a bit cool.
We'd keep them in case the price went up during the year. But that year we just rang friends in Bella to come and take a bag, whatever you want. Yeah.
This is devastating, because 20 acres of potatoes back then, that's a lot for the gear.
It was then, yeah.
And how were you planting them? There was, tell me, tractors? No?
No, there was the 4 horse in the 3-furrow plough with a planter box on it with cups that went round, and one on the seat of the plough. You'd have to keep getting the spuds out of the box and drop them in the cups as they went round.
Spud by spud?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How many Clydesdales did you have back then?
Always had 5. Mainly used to only use 4 in the plough, unless it was after harvest, when we start to plough the ground again for next year. And the ground would be very hard and dry then, so we'd have to use the 5 in the team then.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many years would you rest a paddock before you put spuds back in it?
We'd sow a paddock down in grass, and we'll leave it in grass for perhaps 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And then we'd break that paddock up for spuds, and have 1 crop of spuds off it, and then a crop of wheat, and then perhaps 4 crops of oats after that, and back into grass again.
These were long, tough days, weren't they? I remember Pop telling me about you'd be up well before daybreak. Getting
daylight till dark.
Yeah.
Oh, gee. Yeah, long hours. You know, in those days, Pop and I didn't get much money either. I think he was on £1 a week for a start, and then I got £1 a week, and had that for quite a while. And then I did get it up to £2 a week. When Vera and I got engaged at 21, I thought, gee, I'm going to have to get more. I can't live on that. So I asked for $3 a week. Uncle Arthur thought, might as well give you the bloody farm. He was a hard man.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and I didn't see eye to eye too often.
Yeah.
And Dad was good. Anyway, I finished up getting me £3 a week. Yeah. But Dad had to keep me. Dad kept me, so I had free board and tucker Dad's.
Yeah.
So Uncle Arthur got out of that. And yeah, anyway.
Right. And you had dairy as well back then? You had some dairy cows as well?
Yes, we only used to milk about 12 to 14, all hand milk then. Yeah, sometimes you'd get a bit dry when you milk, and so it squirts them up and
What was the dairy like back then?
pretty rough. An old shed there, it had 4 bales. When we had just the cow shed down there milking by hand, that was all separated and sell the cream to Wallace Butter Factory. And a company started up in Ballarat called Ballarat Associated Dairymen, BAD. And they went around trying to sell shares to farmers in BAD. So if you bought shares in BAD, you was allotted a contract to supply so many gallons of fresh milk a day to Ballarat for the town supply. We was allotted 60 gallons a day contract. Every day, regardless what time of the year it was, we had to supply 60 gallons of fresh milk daily in cans, and they'd pick it up every morning. Because we started to milk then, finished up milking about 60 cows in the finish. That's when I built the shed. We put in milk machines and all that.
Yeah.
But the surplus from the 60 gallons a day to go to Ballarat, we would separate that and then sell that cream to Wallace. And the skim milk, we'd keep so many calves every year, heifers calves, to use for replacements. So we'd feed the skim milk to them, and then any bull calves, they went to market on Friday.
Mm.
Yeah.
So your teenage years, what age were you when you left school to return to the farm?
Yeah, well, when I left Bungaree, I came home, and I was only home a couple of months, and they said, Dad and Uncle Arthur said, look, I think you should go to another school and learn some trade. So that's when I joined the School of Mines and decided to do agricultural engineering, which included bookkeeping, turning and fitting, electric wiring, carpentry and joinery. There was electricity and magnetism, but I couldn't see any point in that. So I asked them, could I do extra time with carpentry and joinery? So they said yes. So, but every Saturday morning, I'd have to ride the bike into Ballarat to do this extra time on the
Carpentry.
joinery, yeah. But it was well worthwhile. And that's how I learned to, when I built the shed and the hay shed, and when we got our house, when we brought it down from Mullenkip was a removalist, I was able to fix up the house, build cupboards, wardrobes in each room, built cupboards in the kitchen, built a sun porch on the back with cupboards in that too. Look, that was the best course I could have done.
Well, that house is still standing and that porch is still there.
Yeah, good house. Yeah.
But the course itself sounds a lot like farming and perfect for farming.
It was ideal, Darren.
Yeah, because you've got to be a jack of all trades, don't you?
You couldn't get a better course for a farmer. But unfortunately, the way things were with the war, I could only do 1 year. It was a 2-year course, but I could only do one. So I had to come home and help on the farm. So I was back on the farm at 14 because Bill was conscripted into the army. That was why I had to come home from school at 14 to help on the farm. When I turned 18, I had to go and enlist, but I had to go to the army, and I didn't want to be in the army. I wanted to be in the Air Force. Oh. So I went into the army and they said, what do you do? I told them I was a farmer. They said, right, get home. We've taken too many farm boys. We want you to go home and grow food for the troops. So I still want to be in the Air Force. So I went into the Air Force and tried listed there, but they said the same thing. Get home, we've taken too many farm boys. I didn't want to go to the Navy because I couldn't stand out on the water. Yeah, so I had to go home and help on the farm.
But the country needed food produced then, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were short of feed. They realised they had taken too many farm boys away, had to stop that. And anyway, Bill eventually got exempted and he was home then too.
What stories did your parents tell you about those early days on the land?
Oh, not really, Darren, because just the fact it was pretty tough times with the Depression. Yeah, that made things pretty hard going. And Dad and Uncle Arthur had to take out a mortgage, of course, to buy the farm. They hated to have a mortgage, hated paying this money off. So they wanted to get it paid off as quick as possibly, and they eventually did. Yeah, that made it a bit better. But, it was tough going. It really was. Because some years, as I said, you couldn't sell the spuds. Nobody wanted them.
And your mum and dad would have seen both World War I and World War II.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So we're talking now, you're about 18. What was your social life like as a young adult in the country?
Yeah, pretty good actually, Darren. We used to go to the local dances like Bungaree, Wallace, Dean. Yeah. Bill and Mara used to go to the dances and I'd get a ride with them, go with them to the dances, and that was good. So Bill's mate, Mac Mason, they had a farm about a mile towards Wallace, and Bill and Mac were great cobbers, and Mac married Joyce Osmond, Vera's sister. They would ask Vera over to their place some weekends, and somehow or other they always made sure I got down there at the same time. And that's how our friendship sort of started. When she came 16, the Bungaree Hall decided to run a debutante ball. And Vera asked me would I partner her for the ball, which I did, and the rest is history. So we were best of friends all the time then, till we got engaged at 21 and we were married at 23.
Wow. So love was in the air when you were 16?
Well, yes, I suppose it was.
Gee, Uncle David. All right. And then you had a beautiful marriage for more than 70 years.
Oh, look, Darren, when Vera passed away on the 1st of April 4 years ago, we'd been married for 72 and a half years at that stage. That's a long time. But look, it was the happiest. That was the best thing I ever did, was marry Vera. Love of my life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I know she was very special to us too, and we've got great memories of her.
Yes. She was a wonderful person, and then she got dementia, and I looked after her at home for 3 years.
And you did a great job.
And then it got to the stage and I couldn't do it any longer, and the doctor said, David, you're going to have to do something about this. So the family went around and had a look at all the places, and they chose here, which was then Freemasons. And so the day Vera come in here was the day COVID started.
Oh.
And we weren't allowed to see her for 3.5 months.
Oh.
That was really hard. I would ring her every day from home, ring the nurses station, and they would take the phone up to where she was, and I'd talk to her, but she'd push the wrong button and kept cutting me off. I'd have to keep ringing back to the nurse, look, she cut me off. And this went on and on. I used to drive up to see her every day when she was in the room, and then that one day I came up and I felt something funny happen as I'm driving up. And I got up here and the receptionist said, David, you don't look very well. And I had a job to answer her. And I wanted to see Vera, and I had a job to speak to her too. And anyway, I drove home, took it very steady, of course. I got home and rang Lee straight away, and I said, look, I want to see the doctor, but it's got to be now, not in 2 days' time. So Dad, he said, I know what'll happen. You've got to go straight to the hospital to get tested. So he did that. I was there for 2.5 days, and they did all the tests, and they found out that I'd had the stroke, and it was affecting the back of the brain, wow, which affected the eyes.
This is just another tough story during those COVID times. You had this amazing marriage and beautiful relationship for more than 70 years. Then for 3.5 months, you couldn't see her. She was in lockdown.
Right, yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to see her on account of the COVID. That was hard, it really was.
Now, tell me about Auntie Vera. I believe she had to leave boarding school too and come home to help on their farm during the war.
She used to love helping her dad on the farm. She was Dad's girl more than Mum's. She used to love out on driving the horse mower and all those sort of things with her dad. Yeah, used to love it.
So you moved a house from Mollingip, you said before?
That's right. We bought Henry Macklin's house on the road between Bullarook and Blampede. Brown's, the removalist, jacked it up, drove the jigger under it, dropped it down, and they drove down all the way to our place. I think it was about 6 or 7 mile drive. All they had to do was take the chimney down. Never took the roof off. It was complete. So they had a bloke on top of the roof, because sometimes there were phone lines coming across the road. So when they'd come to a phone line, the bloke up on the roof had a stick and he'd hold the phone wire up in the air so they could drive under it. Yeah.
And this is for you and Vera to live in?
Yeah.
Yep. And now tell me, you had 4 kids.
Yep.
You had Lee, Lynn, Neil and Jill.
That's right.
But the journey of them being born wasn't without its tough times, was it?
No, we'd planned to have four kids, right? And 2 years apart. When Lee was born, she was fine. But when we went to have Lynn, she had miscarriage problems. And she finished up, she did get pregnant and had Lynn, but that was the only one she could have. So we were lucky. And then Neil and Jill, they were the normal 2 years apart. But there was 4 years between Lee and Lynn on account of that. Yeah.
And now you mentioned before you built a cow shed just after you were married.
When Dad bought these shares in the BAD, we had to, 14 cows was useless. So that's when we bought, started off with about 40 odd for a start, then got up to 60. And So I built that shed and built that concrete part right up the drive to the shed, and the cows used to follow that. Oh, they used to love it. Instead of walking through all the mud down
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
And they'd be cleaner as they came into the shed then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. It was great.
And this cow shed was built out of hand-cast cement bricks.
Yeah, cement bricks. We bought them in Geelong. Had them transported up.
Right. And you had electricity at this stage?
Yes.
Yeah. And what about hot water and, bathing the kids and so forth?
Yeah, well, the hot water was through the stove and up into a 60-gallon cylinder to hold it.
So this would be copper pipe?
Sort of a copper tube in the firebox, and the water used to warm up and go up into the 60-gallon reserve tank outside. And then when you wanted to bath the kids, you just turn the tap on. But look, in those days, things were pretty tough. You only have one bath a week, and all the kids, they'd all have the same water, and often we had to do because, there's just water was a bit short. And then when we got the shed going and put a board, 2 bores down, one in the backyard behind Mum's house, Dad's house, another one down the paddock, but the one down the paddock was very salty, so that was no good. But the one up in the house yard was just like rainwater.
Was it?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Do you remember how deep you had to go?
It went down about 60 feet.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, just like rainwater.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was then piped directly over to the shed. So we had plenty of water over the shed. We had a kerosene heater in the shed to warm up the tank over there. And look, that was a burn to us, yeah.
Thanks for joining us in part A of this remarkable story. In this next episode, we'll continue the journey from the days of the Hillman Minks to Uncle David's deep involvement in the community through various committees. We'll hear about the shift from horsepower to tractor power and how tractors won Uncle David over. We'll also talk about the tough decision to leave the farm, the many jobs he took on in town, and even 10 years working at a TV station, which he then got my foot in the door to kick off my own career. This is a man deeply loved by many, and there's so much more to his story. Please stick around for part B. In the meantime, keep your hands dirty and your spirits high.